All right. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Doing another early morning stream. It is 8:10 a.m. here. The house is asleep still. And so I'm just keeping it down a little bit. But I've got my coffee. I've eaten one marshmallow for breakfast. I put chocolate syrup in my coffee, and I'm ready to go. Cold coffee from yesterday. Yeah, I don't know why some people aren't getting notifications from Twitch. I mean, I guess it's fine if you turn them off. That's fine. But I've heard some people who had them on weren't getting notified, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what this is. I think this was... Oh, I know what this was. All right. So today, I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. Maybe not different, but I'm going to do some editor work. What I want to do is do this. I want to add something like this, a multi-select to my level editor. And I don't know how to do it. So bear with me as I get my bearings on this 2,000 lines of editor script. I think, no matter what, I think I want to, I think I just need to track, clicking on an empty space, holding the mouse button down, dragging it out. And if I click and hold on an empty space, I have the coordinate for the upper left corner. Well, I have the coordinate for one corner. Could be the bottom right corner. So I have the coordinate for one corner, and then the mouse position is the coordinate for the other corner. And I can use Godot's 2D drawing functions to actually draw the box. And then when you release, maybe not when you release, but as you drag the box, when you release the box, it will create a collision area that's the same size as the rectangle and select everything it collides with and then make it all go away. I'll be happy if I can get the box drawing working. Yeah, let's just see if I can do that. So the first step was figuring out if you're clicking on an empty space, and I think my select function already does that. Yeah, I think my select function already does that. I'm refreshing my memory here of how this thing works. So, okay. Mode equals target. Oh, that's okay. This is for when you're selecting a target for a signal. It does this because you've clicked on something that you want to be the target of the signal. Otherwise, if you're just normally selecting around, first thing it does is it clears anything that's already selected. I think that's okay. Select object. Oh, this isn't the right spot. So object is null. If object is null, return. Well, maybe this is the right spot. What calls this? Oh, I'm jumping around too much. So this tries to select an object, which means there's a click or something already happening someplace else. but it's okay, I think, because I could put my code here. If the object is null that you're passing in, then you know this is an empty space. And right now it just returns, but what I could do instead is start capturing that, that first corner coordinate, and that I'm dragging, I guess. Let's see, what calls select? Yeah. When I place an object, it selects it. I think this is the main input loop for the editor. Yeah. So this says if I'm in select mode or target mode and I left click and I'm not holding shift, if object. So there must be something, it's already detecting if I'm over an object. Yeah, as I move the mouse around, it tries to see if I'm on top of an object or not. Yep. This isn't what I would call spaghetti necessarily, but it's also could be better. I guess what I'm saying is if you're looking at this code, I'm not your role model. Don't copy this for your own sake. I don't care if you copy it, but for your own sanity, I think you can do it better than this. So what's happening is there's an unhandled input here. And in my editor, because everything's still running in the game and everything's physics-based, and because I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I made all this, it essentially tracks, it uses unhandled input so it can track the mouse position, right? And track certain clicks and stuff. And then here, all this nonsense is it gets the global mouse position, it creates a shape query in the physics server, it sets the position of this shape query to the mouse position, and then it just tries to find all the objects that are, near the mouse, basically. This is a circle shape. It's some small amount. It changes based on the zoom size. So you can kind of click very near something and it'll select it. So this is constantly just, as I'm moving the mouse around, it's seeing what's nearby. And then it does something special for walls, calculating the normal, doing all this other nonsense. But then, if you click, it selects it, okay? If there's an object nearby and you click, it selects it. If there's not an object nearby and you click, it clears it. So I could do my first thing here, but I think this is action just pressed. Does that? That's the mouse down. Just released is the mouse up. So this means it's been pressed, but maybe not released yet. So this would actually be perfect. I wonder if I have another just released on this. Let's just check, because I don't want to duplicate the code if I can avoid it. Hey, Gresset. Hey, Gresset, how you doing? Thanks for joining. I'm trying to do multi-select drag and drop in my level editor. Just pressed, just release. So this is for drawing. If I'm drawing or erasing and I release, then Yeah, stop drawing, do some wall stuff. Here's another just pressed. This is oh, this is for moving individual vertices on the walls. This one's for dragging or rotating an object. So this is clicking, dragging. See, what I'm worried about, what I'm trying to avoid is having two sections of code fighting over the same thing, you know. This one says if I'm moving and I'm selected or dragged, I might have to put some code in here. Last tab. So this does if I'm dragging, oh, so this says if I have a dragged object, if there is nothing being dragged, but if it's a polyhandle, which is what I call those vertices on walls, if it's a polyhandle and I'm clicking it, then I'm starting a drag on a polyhandle, right? So it records the undo information. Edge case where the user selected an object and tried to start a drag operation by moving the mouse cursor and then pressing the left button while the cursor was over an empty area. What weird. But see, this is weird. But if I remove this, I know I'll have bugs, so I can't remove it. I'm not even sure what it does anymore. If it's not a vertex, or if it's a vertex, it does this. If it's a null object, it does this. Otherwise, if I have an object, then start dragging that object. So maybe in here I would have a third thing selected or dragged. How could this be true and this be null? I guess it wouldn't be. It would drop down to here. Because I can also, if I'm holding down shift, I can rotate the object while I'm dragging it. Otherwise, I just move the object while I'm dragging it. Okay. So this is, if I don't have something selected, it starts the drag. Otherwise, it starts dragging. Otherwise, it starts rotating or moving and starts the drag. And then this is stopping the drag. So in here, I could record the first corner, and in here, I could do the second corner. And then have some code in here. If selected is null, then do its thing. Then set a flag for the mode. Okay, so I need a multi-select mode. Where's my modes? Mode select, mode draw, mode target, mode place, mode multi-select, right? What is this called when you drag a rectangle out? Is there a name for that UI convention? I'm going to call it just mode multi-select for now. If you guys think of a better name, let me know. And then I lost where I was, of course. Line 493. Okay. If drag is null, if shift, if selected or dragged. So this only works, though, if something is selected. or if I'm already dragging something. And what I want to do is not that. I want to only drag if something's not selected. So this actually works because I think I want to separate this functionality anyway. So I want to do something similar, very similar, but I want to say if selected null and moving the mouse. No, let's just do that. Then I can say mode Can I do that? Drag select. The question was, what is the name for when you do this? What is this called? Is there a name for this? Box select? Okay. Yeah, let's use box select. So if I haven't selected anything and I left click, then my mode is box select. But if I'm drawing something, maybe this should only be and mode equals, if I'm in select mode, but there's nothing selected, if there's nothing selected and I'm in select mode and I click the left mouse button, then I go to box select mode. And I need to record those coordinates as well. So let's do a variable here, box select, corner 1. Let's do a rectangle. Right? I'll just fill it in as I go. Oh, maybe not. No, let's not do that, because I think rect2 takes a corner and a width and height. Yeah, position and a size, right? And an end, a size. What is this? Position, size, end, ending corner. Setting this value would change the size. Okay. So you can either set a starting corner and an ending corner. Maybe this would work. I don't know what happens if you do a ending corner that's opposite, but we'll find out. Yeah, end seems to be perfect. I agree. I didn't know that that was in there. So my box select chords dot position will be that. And then here I can say if mode equals mode box select and input is action just released, left click, then mode equals select and box select chords dot end equals global mouse position. Okay, right? So if nothing's selected, let's switch this around. If I'm in select mode and nothing's selected, and I press the left mouse button, then go into box select mode and set the coordinate. This is actually incorrect. This needs to do select all the things. So then then later, if I'm in box select mode and I release the left click, then just go back to select mode, select all the things, do its magic. All right. Then, can I set a bookmark? I want to come back to this line. Yes. Okay. So then I have a draw function in here somewhere. If mode box select draw the box. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I don't need the second coordinate because the second coordinate is always just going to be the mouse position. So we can do box select chords dot end, right? Dot end equals global mouse position. I have a handy little function in there. No, that's not mine. I thought I had this as a global, but I guess not. That's fine. That's fine. It's all good. And then I can draw a rectangle. Is it this easy? Is it going to be this easy? Who wants to guess and say, no, John, it's not going to be that easy. You fool. False. True. Let's see what happens. So I can still select stuff. Holy crap. Lordy, lordy, it worked on the first try. It worked on the first try, and I have it on video. Maybe I'm not such a bad programmer after all. See, I can still drag stuff. I can still, everything else still works. Can I rotate? Yeah. Still do all that. Can I still place things? Yeah. Still working. If I try and drag, yeah. But if I click an empty space, oh. All right, let's add some juice. I'm already in juice mode. This is going to be box select color. And I'm going to call it, where's my other color? I'm going to call it C. But then I'm going to do C.A equals rand F. And let's make this 3. Too thick. How come that's not working? Oh, box select color.a. There we go, look at that. Seizure inducing even. Let's do rand range 0.1 to 0.3. Okay. I don't like these corners. See how they're overlapped? Look at that. When you go backwards, forwards, backwards. It's unusual. Maybe a 1 pixel is best to kind of minimize that nonsense. The thickness between a 1 and a 2 is enormous. Can I do partials? I can. It's interesting. At some point, I think I might want to do like marching ants here. That would be more complicated because this would turn into, instead of just a single draw rect, it would turn into a bunch of little draw lines because you can't set the line style for these, I don't think. I could do a multi-line. Multi-line colors would actually work. I could do it on one call with multi-line colors because I could do all the different line segments for the marching ants and then change the colors of each segment to, you know, opaque, transparent, and then offset the starting position based on time, so they march around the outline, and then I could do it all in one call. Polyline colors. Polyline colors is what I want. Multi-line draws multiple parallel lines, I think. Polyline draws a polygon of lines, and you give it a color for each vertex. This is how I outline my walls as well. Draw style box, draw texture. Interesting. Wonder what happens. Let me try, let's do this. Let's change this to true to fill it in and see how that looks. That actually looks better. Let's go. Yeah, then the line thickness doesn't matter so much. Be nice if I could miter the edges or chamfer them. Whatever, it's fine. Bevel them a little bit. All right. I can't believe I got that working on the first try. High five to me. High five to you guys. Bap. All right. So then now the thing is, God, sometimes I impress myself. How do I go back to that bookmark? How do I go to the bookmark? Go to bookmark. Control B. Okay, Control B, Control B. Handy. Okay. I'm learning new things. So if I change this, add a bookmark here, then I can bounce back and forth. Bookmark, bookmark. Okay. So this needs to do a physics query. So what I want to do is this will set up physics query, create box shape. That's the same shape as my rect. Check collisions with the rect, right? Check collisions, and then iterate all objects and select them all. So selecting them all is the part that I don't support. Because the whole point of selecting them all is to do something with them all. Delete them all or move them all. Select them all or delete them all. I don't want to do any other operations on them. No rotating, no resizing, no scaling. Yeah. No changing their properties. Right now when you select something, you get a property window, right? And you can change all this stuff. But I don't want that to happen either, because this guy and this guy have different properties. It doesn't make any sense. So I need a way to select everything in a way that is not this. Let's go back to my select function. That's going to be the hard part. Let's put a bookmark here. Bup, bup, bup. Okay. So this selects one object. And there's a gizmo it puts on each one. The gizmo is that little plus sign, so that I know what's selected. In a multi-select situation, I want to have multiple gizmos. They would all get a gizmo. I think my gizmo is global. There's only one, and it just moves it around depending on what's selected, or it hides it. The other thing I could do is have an alternate gizmo for, things that are multi-selected. Maybe just the circles coming off of them. A 9 patch. Maybe. That could look good, actually. That could look good. 9 patches act weird, though. You have to make a really small one. If you make a 9 patch that's like this big, if your art is this big, for example, for the 9 patch, if you make your rectangle bigger than that, it's fine. Everything works exactly like you expected. But if you go smaller than the 9 patch, then it completely blows up. Nothing works right. So you have to make your 9 patches as small as possible. But because I don't feel like I want to restrict how small they can make this rectangle, I would have to make the 9 patch so small that it would be unusable. Otherwise, I'm going to run into weird bugs, visual bugs, when you do that. So I may not use the 9 patch. Let's just try it with multiple gizmos. Okay, so when I select, it's going to select those 3 things, these 2 things. It'll put a gizmo on each one. When you click away, it's got to remove all those gizmos. They could be freed. They don't just need to be hidden. They can actually be freed because I don't need them anymore, which means I need to keep track of them. And I need to keep track of everything that has a that's been multi-selected as well. So I think I need a new select method. Let's call it box select, that takes an array of objects. In that array of objects, it'll iterate, it'll put a gizmo on each one, and when you unselect, when you clear a selection, it will null the box select array and delete all the gizmos. Okay, let's try that. So I want a function here. Right. And let's go ahead and do our physics query here as well. Here. All right, let's copy some code. Here we go. This is exactly the code I want. I'm just going to change the shape. So I get the physics space already defined. Yes, 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 because I'm in the same scope as that. That's okay. I can reuse that space. I can reuse that. Can I reuse this too? I think I could. I'm going to say shape equals rectangle shape. I can set the size. I don't know how to do that yet. I'll do that in a second. Do that. Box select objects. Box select objects like that. All right, shape dot. How do I set the rectangle shape? Let's do this. Help. Extents. Extents. Half extents. The width and half of this shape is twice the half extents. These are half extents. I don't even know why. I don't care. The rectangle's half extent, so I need to give it half the width and height of my rectangle, which I'm already setting. I've already got the box chords, right? Dot size, right? Divided by 2. So my shape dot extents equals that. Then I need to do this, and I need to transform it to not where the mouse is, but to the box select chords dot start dot no, yes, dot yeah, right, dot position. I think this this query shape, I think it might be centered on the center of the rectangle. Don't need that. Don't need that. And let's just go ahead and move this right here. And let's just say print o.collider. Let's just see what it selects. So I select all the things, set up the physics query. I set up the physics query, I created the box, I check for collisions, iterate all the objects and select them all, and do a thing. Do magic. Alright, let's see. Radius for a rectangle. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think this is going to be offset a little bit. Did it print anything? It did. It's doing something. Yeah, so it's not. I think, yeah, so I have to do position plus extents, which is half the width. So this will put it in the center. Why is it selecting the same thing twice? It's running this code twice? Let's do another print. Actually, let's do this. Print box select objects dot size. It thinks it's got two things, but they're the same thing. It's the same exact object, but there's two of them in the array. I don't understand that. Hey, Saint. Good evening. It's actually almost 9 a.m. here. I'm in California. We're at the wrong end of the time zone spectrum. We're at the ass end of it. I suppose it could be worse. We could be in Australia. Perfect. Lithuania. I've never been. I've never been anywhere in Europe, actually. Most of my traveling has been United States adjacent. So, you know, Mexico, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, the Caribbean. Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be fun to visit. Once all this COVID stuff lifts and it's easier to travel, I do want to go to Europe and spend some time there. We're thinking of renting our house and using that money to finance our traveling. I was lucky enough, fortunate enough, old enough to have bought a home before housing prices went completely bonkers in California. So my mortgage is actually really, really low compared to rents. It sucks for a lot of people, but works out for me. I don't know what I'd do if I had to buy a house in California right now. I know what I'd do. I wouldn't buy one. All right. This is an issue, and I don't know what is causing it, and I will deal with it later. There is something weird happening where the same object is selected multiple times. I don't know. I'm doing this. I would be tempted to say it's a Godot bug. Look, it doesn't happen here. Oh, that time it did. That time it didn't. Oh, that time it did. That time it didn't. See, I don't think it's a Godot bug. I think there's something about my nodes or the way that I'm doing the selection. I know what it is. Some of these objects have multiple colliders. Could that be it? I don't think it's a Godot bug. I think it's a John's game is doing some unusual things. Wow. It could be that my extents are wrong. Let's move this down here. Let's get a clean case. This has one collider. Look, perfect, right? I can grab it right there. I can grab it right there. That should just miss it. Yep. Missing it. Missing it. Missing it. Missing it, right? Okay, so my collider shape is okay. Right? That's fine. If I put this guy right here, get one, right? One, one, one. Perfect. And if I put this guy right here, there's two. Now there's one. Now there's two. And that's because this guy does have two colliders. He has a turret and he has a body. And when I draw the shape, it's colliding with both of those colliders. Or rather, it has two collision shapes. So this is colliding with both collision shapes, and they have the same parent object. So that's why I'm getting the same object twice. All right, I figured it out. So it's not a Godot bug. And what I need to do is I need to filter out duplicates. Duplicate colliders. Deduping. Deduping to the dupes. Dedupe, dedupes. All right. So I don't need this iterating. What I need to do is I need to say box select my box select objects. Boom. And while I'm at it, let's move this to here. While I'm at it, I will add a clear box select. And oh, okay. I need to box select objects equals array, right? And you, hey Flory, thanks for the follow. This, why isn't this saying it's shadowing that global variable? Do that. Let's actually remove this and do that. There we go. And then here, I can say box select objects equals objects. And here I can say box select objects dot clear. I need to do some more stuff in here. Clear the box selection, blah, blah, blah. Clear gizmos, etc. But then I can call this method here as well. Clear selected, clear selected, clear selected. Clear selected will also do clear box select. So anytime I clear a selection, I also clear the box selection. I call that all over the place. It should be good. And this will do its magic one day. Hey, Flory. Yeah, so here's the game. Let me show you a quick, I'll show you a quick trailer. Here's what I'm working on. This is the game. Oh, my sound is off. Yeah. And today I'm trying to get, I'm working on the level editor and I'm trying to get it, I'm trying to add this functionality into the editor, this multi-select box. So if I bring up the editor, actually let me show you guys something fun that I added last time too. I added mirror bouncing walls. Oops. Here we go. Added bouncy walls. Sorry, dude. He got me. All right. So I've got the I've got the multi-selection rectangle working, and now I'm trying to add in the code to actually do the select. And in case you missed it, I got this rectangle working on the first try. The bouncing walls thing, it's a property of the wall. So you can have some walls be reflective and some not. I'm still working on the feature because I need to clue the player in that this wall is bouncy. Some kind of visual indicator that it's bouncy, so they don't just go into a room and start shooting and wreck themselves. sorry, I just have to try this out and see what happens. It's very slow bouncies. All right. So I've got my clearing the box selection. I have my box select objects. So in here, what I need to do is create a bunch of gizmos. And I think I want an array for those as well. So let's call that box select gizmos. Yeah, that's fine. And here I would do for object in box select gizmos free, and then not a function. There. So if you clear the box selection, it's going to clear this array of the selected objects. It's going to iterate through all the gizmos for each of those objects and free them, just throw them away. And then it's going to clear the array of those box select gizmos because they're gone. So that function is done. So here I need to actually create these gizmos. And I can do that easily by saying for O in box select objects. And then gizmo equals preload that. Am I already doing that? Probably not. Preload. Do I have preload in here? Let's just do this. Okay. And then I can say gizmo.instance. And then I can say giz.position equals o.position. And add child giz. And box select gizmos equals giz. No. Append. Right? I get my array of objects, I iterate through them, create a gizmo instance for each one, put it in the right spot, add it to the game tree, add it to the array. Let's see what happens. On base dictionary. Oh, O.collider. Hey, look at that. This particle system, these circles are a particle system, I believe. And you see how I have to wait a second for them to appear? I'm going to open that gizmo scene and look at my particles, and I'm going to have it do a pre-process. So this is a 3-second lifetime thing, so I'm going to have it just pre-process 3 seconds. So when it appears, it will already have a full complement here of rings. That's better. I think, I mean, don't hold me to it, but I think this is one of the last features I'm going to add to the level editor. Because honestly, I could keep adding features to this forever. There's so many little things. But this one, oh God, I'm already going to contradict myself. The next, there is one more feature I want to add. When you move one of these like walls, right? You see all this stuff that's kind of like behind the wall, positioned on the wall. Well, you move the wall and it loses all the positioning, right? So what I'd like to do is when you grab a wall, it detects everything that's touching the wall and it moves it all with it. So all of these objects would move with the wall. And I want it to work with rotation as well. And that way you'd be able to just adjust this and then not have to go and adjust that and adjust that and adjust that and adjust that. It's just going to make my life so much easier if I don't have to do all those things. So multi-select and then the wall attachment thing. And then it'll be done. No more. All right, so this works. I can't do anything with them yet, right? Oh, and the deselect works, right? Perfect. So now, now I want to be able to drag one of these and it drags them all. So I think for that, so this works, that's all good, that works. I think it's here. When I'm moving an object, I'm moving a dragged object. I need to drag the one, but also move all the other ones offset by the same offset as this one moved from its original position. Smart Shape 2D. (2D) terrain tool. Oh, no, I have seen this. Yeah, this is cool. This is kind of similar to how I'm making walls, but they're doing it much more, what is this, a Bezier curve, and then probably some kind of shader in here for mapping the deformation, or maybe it's a skeleton thing, 2D skeleton. You can anchor things to those shapes. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I do want to anchor things to my walls. But I kind of want it to be like, so like if I put this guy here, it's overlapping, so it should just be anchored. I want it to be kind of welded together. But then if I move this off, now it's not welded. I don't want to have to be explicit about it, you know? You go there, you go there. So one problem I'm having is when I select, it deselects everything else. Whoa, why did it select that? What the heck? Right, so it deselects everything else. If I select these guys, how come I can't select you? Nothing's ever easy. All right, let's just take a simple case. Take you, take you, take you. Okay, I can select those three guys, and if I click and drag one, oh, nothing happened. I need to put in some logic for if there's a box select active, because it's clearing the selection. So let's look at that first. Yeah, if they're not using a shader, then they must be using, there's a 2D bone system, and it'll deform the mesh to follow the skeleton. They might be using that. Yeah, it's a cool project. So there's a clear selected. Oh, you know what I can do? Why didn't I think of this sooner? I can just do this. Let's just put a breakpoint in. And I can... Oh, rats. Let's take the breakpoint out. So I'm going to select them, then add the breakpoint, and now I select you. So it comes from unhandled input right here. And I'm in select mode because I've already made my multi-selection. It switches back to select mode. All my objects are selected. So here I can say something like, if box select then do something else. And I think in my box select, let's put a bookmark here. In here, I think I need to select that. So this will end up selecting the last one. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Because that'll clear the selection as well. Right? It'll clear it. And then select the new thing. That's fine. If you're selecting an object, but you've already got a box selection going, then this doesn't need to do anything. And then maybe this just needs to do selected that. Right, because that's what this does, basically. I don't need the gizmos, I don't need any of this nonsense. Oh, let's play a click as well. Let's play, no. Let's just play one click. Turn that off. Here's my click. Okay. So now that I'm trying to drag stuff, it's being like, there's a problem. Position on the dragged object is weird because my selected is weird. I don't know why that didn't work. Some warnings. It's fine. Select. Oof. Okay, fine. Stop you complaining. Okay. And then okay. Okay. So, yeah, I can drag one, but now I need to move all these gizmos, and I need to move the other box selection guys along with him. And then I need to do undos for all of them as well. Holy crap. This is a pain in the neck. Hey, Javi. Oh, you hear folks in the background? Yeah, I think my daughter, my wife, woke up. What time is it? It is... I have no idea what time it is. My phone is not here. It's 9:24. Coffee mug's empty. All right, I just want to get one of these functions working. So let's see what we can do in the next half an hour. I want to... the heck? I'm not fully understanding what's happening here. Let's try delete first. Maybe I don't want to overlap with this selected thing. Maybe I want to... Well, but I would like to reuse some of the code, though. Let's try this. Let's say if selected or box. Right? Oh, you know what, though? Ooh. What if... What if I made a single selection just a special case of a box selection? Instead of having these two variables, what if I just did this? And normally selected size is 1, but sometimes it could be 10. And things like this would be, you know, it would be like that. Let's see how bad that refactor would be. Ooh. 105. That's not so bad. This would just become a loop. This would be dot size. This would be... Ooh, interesting. This would be a loop, and then this would be the object, the current object in the in the loop, the iterated object in the loop. So it'd do this for each. For each. Oh man, if I do the refactor, I know I'm going to introduce a bunch of new bugs. If I don't do the refactor, I'm going to write a bunch of complicated code and duplicate some code. But things like this would be simpler, because I could for each that, I could for each that. This would all end up being in a loop for each object. Because right now I would have to say, if selected, do this. Otherwise, if box select, then for each, and then all of this again. Tell you what, let's do this. Right, so I've got these stage. Here's a little thing I do in Git sometimes is I'll stage changes, and then if I make new changes, right, it's the same file. Here's my stage change in editor, right, and I know this stuff is all fine. And then I've got these new changes, and I can just revert that. But I've still got my stage changes that I already made. It's sort of like a stash or a commit almost, but it's like a working tree commit. I don't know what you call it. So by staging these, I don't have to worry about blowing away these changes, right? And I can experiment a little bit. And then if it doesn't work out, I can get back to what I have staged, which I know is fine. So let's try it. Let's just see. And let's do it by this. Let's do that. And let's do that. And then we can see where all the errors are. Right? So this would become for selected in selected objects. Boom. Next error. For selected in selected objects. Boom. For selected in selected objects. I don't want to do this. I want to say, I want to actually remove this from this array. So I need to do something a little different here. I need to say for I how does the for loop work? Can I get an index? In range? Okay. So this would be range selected objects.size. Okay. It seems like there's a shorthand for this. It seems like there's a shorthand for that. Hold on a second. Maybe I'm getting my languages confused. When iterating over an array, the current array element is stored in the loop variable. So maybe this is not working the way I think. Is this just the index? All right, hold on. Quick test. No, so I printed out the rectangle. And that printed out the index. Okay, whatever. Delete. Delete. So this will return the object and not the index like the documentation says. Oh, no. The current array element is stored in the loop variable, not the index. The documentation is right. I just read it wrong. When iterating over an array, the current array element is stored in the loop variable. When iterating over a dictionary, the key is stored in the loop variable. Okay, so that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. This should be range, size, index, if selected objects I, selected objects I, selected objects. No, I want to remove I. Yes, but I think I think I have to do this backwards. Because when I remove them, it'll move the end of the array. And if I'm iterating forward, right? So I want to go for I in range. How does this work? Two arguments, initial, final increment, initial, final. So initial will be that, comma 0. So that'll go backwards through the array, starting at the end of the array and then go, oh, this should be -1. Right? Or is it not inclusive maybe? Range 2, 5 goes 2, 3, 4. Final -1. Final -1. Initial to final -1. One to argument n. Two arguments, initial to final -1. So this should be 1. And this will go from the end of the array to 0. I am in. Let's, you know what? Let's just try it and see what happens. Let's go back to my test. Whoa, what has just happened? Look at that. Don't know what I did. Are you dead? dead, Jim. Do this again. Built in. For I in range 5, 0. Let's see what happens. Do I have to put in -1? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Four, 3, 2, 1, 0. This seems way more complicated than it needs to be. Delete. Remove items from array while iterating. Create another array. Oh, that would be better. No, would it be better? Who wrote this? They have a lot of points. Maybe it's a good answer. Let's say I go through the array 0, 5. Let's say I go through an array var test equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I say I in range test.size, right? So I should get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I equals 3, remove test.remove I. I think this will cause an error when it gets to here, because this index will have disappeared. Or maybe not. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Because I removed element index I, which is 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. It's the 4. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Seemed to work okay. So maybe I don't need this nonsense. I think when it does this remove, it does it in a safe way somehow. Because the iteration just kept on going, even though the size of the array theoretically changed here, it didn't run past the end of the array. Convenience function, convenience thingy. So I don't need to run through it backwards. So I can do range selected objects dot size. Don't need to go through it backwards, and I can just safely say remove selected objects dot remove I objects I. And now that I'm writing this out, I don't like that being plural. But that's fine. I can rewrite that later. So I've got my draw selected objects doing a loop. That does a loop. This is also drawing. This clears a selected if it was freed recently. So this just checks the weak reference on this guy. And if it doesn't exist, then it removes it from the array. And this somehow just magically works, even though the array is changing size while I'm iterating through it, which is great. I don't care how it works, as long as it works. And then, all right, so next bug, next error. If selected objects dot size for selected in selected objects. Let's do that. Do that. And by doing this iteration and using selected as my loop variable, I don't have to rewrite some of this code, so they think this is going to go faster than I originally intended or thought. Oops. Well, let me read some comments here. Yep. Try printing. Any warnings being written? Yep. What if you call remove args when I equals remove again when I equals 6? See, that's what I was thinking, right? I think it will fail. What would happen, right? But this should have failed as well. I think this should have failed. Don't you think? Because it would have said, oh, maybe not. We'll see. Let's see what happens. Maybe this was a bad test. Let's say rect2. Let's make it vector 2. Right? And then I can do test I. Right? Actually, these don't need to be objects. 1, 2, 3. Let's make it fun. John, Javi, Slacks, Leonard, Java Jack, the whole gang. Hey guys. All right. So I've got my array. I'm iterating through the array. I'm printing out the array. I delete the third index, which is Leonard. Sorry, Leonard, you're getting deleted. And then it'll go to the next one. And what'll it print? Will it print the whole gang or will it print Java Jack? Invalid get index. It failed. And it printed the whole gang. It skipped over Java Jack. Okay, so I have to go through it backwards. 'Cause 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 ' can't iterate the array that you're deleting from. Oops. For I in. So this will go from the end of the array to the beginning of the array. Range, C for I in 3, 5, 7, 11. You know what I can do? I can do this. So I'll go from 0 to whatever the index is. And then I say that, right? So I'm iterating forward, but I'm actually referencing the objects from the end. So at 0, it'll be size minus 1 minus I. Because at this point, selected object size will be the end, which is, let's say there's 5 objects in the array. So the final index is 4, which is 4 minus 0. So that'll get the one at the end. Oh, it's so ugly. I think that works. This works, I think. I think this will work, but it's so opaque. I will never remember what this is doing. So I think I want to do that, and then I'll say backwards index equals that, and then I'll say backwards index, backwards index, backwards index. So I go through all the objects and then create an index going from the end of the array forward. And then as I delete the objects, it'll delete them from the end, or it'll shrink the end of the array down. But I'm going this way, so pop, 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 it's okay. If I don't get this right, it's going to cause errors that I'm not going to realize why the errors are happening. That's why I'm struggling with this right now, because it's boring as hell. I'm sure this is boring to watch. You know what I'll do? I'll make this more interesting. Hold on. There we go. All right, I put on my thinking cap. So what this code is doing is it's very important. What it's doing is it's just going through the selected, whatever the selected object is. And if it got deleted for any reason, I don't want to do any operations on it, right? Because if you try to do operations on a deleted object, you're going to get an error. And I won't get an error here. I'll get an error somewhere else on line 8004. And it'll be like, that object doesn't exist. And I'll be like, why? What happened? And I won't know. But this fixes that problem by just checking. It just does a check. If the thing that you've selected doesn't actually exist anymore, then unselect it. And this fixes a whole class of bugs that happen all over the place. So it's important that I get this right. If I don't get this right, I'm going to start seeing weird bugs. and I'm not going to know why they're happening. So, for the benefit of future me, let's set up an array. So let's say I've got my indexes will be 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And my array has 4 elements in it, right? And these are the indexes for those elements. So on the first iteration of the loop, I'm going to get 0. That'll be the index. I equals 0 on the first iteration. Backwards index will be 4 minus 1 will be 3. 4 minus 1 minus 0 equals 3, right? Which is 0, 1, 2, 3. It's this one. Perfect. Then on the second iteration of the loop, I'm going to get 1. Backwards will be 4 minus 1 minus 1 is 2, which is this one, 0, 1, 2. And let's say this one doesn't exist anymore. I have to delete it. So I'll delete 2. And now my array looks like this, 0, 1, 3. Okay, but that's okay because my next iteration is 2. Backwards is 4 minus 1 minus 2 equals 1, which is this one in this array. And it's still there. It's fine. And I didn't skip over anything. I go on to the next one, right? And then when I equals 3, which will be the very final, because this goes from 0 to 4, non-inclusive. So it'll go up to 3. Backwards equals 4 minus 1 minus 3 equals 0, right? And that'll get this value. Okay, I think this works. Just iterating backwards, deleting the one I don't need, continuing on with my life. I think this is good. I learned how to do that debugging method, by the way, at UCI. I remember when they were teaching us loop iteration and counting, and one of my professors was teaching us off by 1, errors. And I remember we had to draw boxes on the screen or on a piece of paper. We had to draw boxes on a piece of paper with all the loop variables and just go through the loop on paper and write out all the variables as we went through it so we could think it through. I don't remember that guy's name, but thank you, sir. All right, if selected object size. How come this one's getting an error and this one's not? See, there's no error here either. Because I'm doing an assignment. Because I'm doing an assignment? This is doing not an assignment. This one's doing an assignment. I don't know. I was expecting this to show me that there's an error here. This isn't doing an assignment. this should be selected objects.size equals 0. Or selected objects 0. So this is the case where you're selecting one thing. Trying to drag or rotate one thing. Selected objects 0. Interesting. This would be okay for selected and selected objects. All right, here we get into some meat of things here. For selected and selected objects. Alright, so now if I delete a bunch of selected objects, it's going to just iterate through them, delete them all, add the undos, do all that. Copy. Interesting. Use selected objects. And then I can do the same thing here. So now I can copy a whole bunch of selected objects. That could be cool. Is that it? This will become, this is if I select, yeah, this is all in the select method. Okay. That's on the clear selected method. Okay. This could be for selected and selected objects. If selected objects 0 it doesn't make sense to edit a bunch of dialogue for every object, just one, right? If selected objects dot size equals 0, if selected objects dot size oh, that's interesting. Doing another weak reference check. Maybe this doesn't make sense. Let's do that. You can center on one object, not a bunch of objects. That's fine. Okay. So I think I need to remove that and do something different. And this becomes selected objects. That no, this, that becomes that, and this becomes that. And this becomes that. Becomes that. 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 If is Gizmo. Let's do this. Let's just say that, because this is for selecting one thing, so it's always going to be operating on this. If selected object 0. So some of this I can maybe combine later, but I just want to get this working. Selected objects remove 0. If selected objects size So this handles if that thing has been deleted. This handles if it's not deleted, but it's just been unselected. And then this should actually just do a clear. And I think clear box select doesn't need to exist. do that. I'm slowly merging these two things. Put this down here at the end. Alright, because I clear the selected objects, clear the box select gizmos. I don't need box select to clear. And then this can actually be here. God, I'm not getting any errors. Let's see what happens. This is going to be pretty. Clear selected. Clear selected. Selected objects. Invalid index 0. Right, I'm checking selected objects.0, but it may not have a 0. So I got to check the size first, if there are any selected objects, and then I can get the 0. Let's check all those. Yep. Yep. That has to be that. Because I clear it, there's nothing in here. And then I append 1, and now I have a 0. All right, let's try that. A player start, person, dialogue, cancel, save. It's saved. Can rotate, undo. Yep, yep. And multi-select. Not doing what I wanted, but no bugs either. Let's see. Got some warnings. Object is never used. Fine. Key is never used. Fine. Elapsed is never used. Okay. And value is never used. Object and key aren't used. Delta is never used. Objects is never used. Objects is never used. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, I think we're back where we were. Can anybody remember why I was doing this? All right, I think the hard thinking is over, so thinking caps off. You may commence with noises again. Hey, Max. Oh, what was the ad? Single versus multi, right. So I probably don't need the box select now. Whoops. Probably don't need this. Right. This can be an array. If object.size equals 0, return. Otherwise, do this. Creates a gizmo for each one. I don't like this O.collider thing. I want these objects to be homogeneous when they're passed in here. That can go away. And I don't know what this does actually. What is my gizmo? I tell it to follow an object, and when it follows the object, it sets a target, and it just moves itself to match the target position. Okay. Okay. So here I would do giz.follow O. And this I would delete. Yep. And in my editor, I think I have a gizmo. And I can just delete you because I'm not going to use you anymore. I was just having one gizmo and it would follow the object around. Now I'm dynamically creating the gizmos. So this changes because I get box select objects equals this, but I want to build a new array. I want to build a new array. So I want to iterate these, and I want to say box select objects.append O.collider. So I'm iterating all of these things, right? Which are collision objects. And then I want to get the actual collider from that, add it to this array, and then I can do this. And now I can be sure that these objects are the same as any other object that's passed into select. So I don't need to have any special function, any special logic in there. I think I still need to do a fix me remove duplicates. Don't add the same object twice. Still need to do that. Objects isn't declared. Objects isn't declared. That, right? So in the case where there's only one object, it'll just do this once. But in the general case where there's many objects, it'll do it for each one. And if I'm trying to select a gizmo, in this special case, right? Or if it's a poly handle, I think I want to do this like this. And this is safe because I've already checked that it has a size. Yes. Yeah, that should be okay. And this, anywhere where I see this 0, I know this is the special case of selecting one thing. So that I might need to change that later. This is going to be always the special case of 1. All right, let's see how this works. That's gone. I need to pass in an array. So anywhere I do select, I need to pass in an array. That's already an array. Okay. Bap, bap. Bap, bap, bap. Bap, bap, bap. Bap. Look at that. It works in the single select case. It works in the general case. And if I hit delete, does it delete them all? It tried to. It tried to null has node on a null instance. What happens if I just continue? Okay, so the delete kind of worked. That worked. It's because I was doing draw. No, I did clear selected from draw. Clear selected. Okay, so I had these things selected. I deleted them, but it's trying to draw everything. And it was going through here, and it found out that this one object that it's tried selecting was deleted. So it tried to clear them all. And this one was null, which is probably the second one, because the first time through the loop it cleared the whole array, but it's still iterating the same array while it cleared it. So it cleared the entire array during the iteration. That's why it failed. What do I want to do here? If it's trying to, I think I just need to put in the same code that I did up there with the range. Something like this. I should probably general purpose this. Let's make this no function. Let's call this function clean freed objects. Clean free selected objects. Clean up freed selected objects. Oof. We can put it right here. Clean up freed selected objects. This method cleans up selected objects that have been removed from the scene tree for some unknown reason. It makes it safe to iterate the selected objects array. All right. So here, I think I just do the same thing. That one's fine. That one's fine. This one I should just do this same thing. And yeah, that's fine. Center. This is complicated. If the selected object, the first selected object is not null, but it doesn't exist, it's been freed, then just clear everything and quit. So I could say instead, clean up my freed selected objects. first. And then say if selected objects dot size equals 0, return. And then this will never get here. That's cleaner, right? I think I can even remove that. All right. Hold on, I'm just going to catch up on comments here. Scooter, you made a small project using a style box resource as the box select. It helps with the overlapping transparency, which creates its own problems with scaling. I put it in Discord. Cool, cool, cool. I'll check that out. Judd, yes, I am still going. It is 2.5 hours, but I'm going to have to end it soon because it is 10:30, and I think I have a place to be at noon, and I have to take a shower. Oranong, are you real? Yes, I am real. Oranong, are you a beginner? Oh, that's a complicated question. I think maybe we're all beginners. In life. Life's too short for any of us to get any good at anything, isn't it? I think to get really good at something, you need about 1,000 years. Life's too short. I think if I had a good 1,000 years, I could become an expert at one thing. And then another 1,000 years, maybe 100 years. It takes a lifetime to become a master of something. And I've only been doing this for 10 years or so. I guess it depends on how you define beginner. See you, Javi. Have a good breakfast. I don't know if I'm me. You know, it's funny. I got an email the other day, and it was a customer support email from one of the services I run. And she asked me, you know, the service sends out an email, says, hey, welcome to the service. If you have any questions, blah, blah, blah. And it's signed by me. And they wrote back, are you real or are you bot? And I thought that was an interesting question. I get it. But I wrote back, I don't know if I'm real. I think I'm real. I feel real. Some people say we're all living in a computer simulation, but is that not real? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. All right, let's put... Ooh, what just happened there? All right, so my object picker doesn't work anymore. Selection still works. Multi-select still works. Ooh, there is a serious lag spike right when I start the drag. Well, that's hairy. What is that about? No warnings, no errors, just a huge lag spike, and I don't know why. I have a feeling it's the clean this. I have a feeling it's this. I mean, this might be getting called a lot. All right, let's see. Profiler time. I can see him. So what is this? "14 milliseconds, 125 milliseconds, 14, 4, 7. Have I already gone past it? It must be right here. No? What am I not seeing? I don't like this profiler very much. It's difficult to use. Audio thread, physics thread. It's not doing anything. This red line is 60 frames per second. So it's got to be this one, right? This frame took 125 milliseconds. Most of it was physics. But none of my functions took a long time. I mean, 0.35 milliseconds. That's only 2 frames, though, right? No, it's not even. It's a fraction of a frame. It's nothing. 1 millisecond. 120 milliseconds. Maybe 65 milliseconds. Maybe I'm not catching it here. There it is. $853 milliseconds. 843 in physics time. You know what it could be? It could be, I know what it is. It's the whole box select thing. It's this. Let me comment these and see if the problem goes away. Yeah, so now it's not doing it. If I comment out this, does it still do it? Yeah, it's not that. But this should only happen when I release the button, not when I click it. Well, but this prevents things from going into the list. Maybe it's a... Okay, so this appends a bunch of colliders to my select. And then... Oh, I know. Maybe it's in draw, because when I'm in draw, it does this, right? And it does this. Yeah, this is the problem right here. It's not this. It's this. Man, that lag is massive. It's not this, though. Maybe it's both. I mean, that helped. So there's something here. This is not great. That's okay. Let me get in here and have this do nothing. Let's just have this do nothing. Let's just see. Still pretty slow. And then let's have draw do nothing. Okay, it's not those. It's not those. I'm still having the problem. Could it be select? Could it be clear selected? Because when I select, it clears. Clear selected. Oh, not loop, no. Yeah, that's fine. Wow, man. I don't know what's causing this. 843 milliseconds right there. Physics time. And my code, audio thread 12 milliseconds, script functions 10 milliseconds, or 1 millisecond. Is it showing inclusive self? See, all my script functions are running in 1 second, 1 millisecond. What is this? Does anybody know what this is? Freeing them on deselect. Oh, freeing all the gizmos. Maybe? You know what I think it is? I think it's because when I select an object, I'm selecting all the poly handles, and I'm getting a bunch of duplicates in here. So I think I need to fix that duplicate thing. If I print box select objects, let's see what happens. Here. Let's look at the output window. And come on. So selected nothing. Selected one thing, but look if I select this wall, right? And there's a bunch of these are duplicates, right? That's a duplicate, 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 duplicate. Because it's all the same collider. It's just different pieces of the collider. This one's going to be worse. No, it's actually better. It's all the same thing. Maybe this is why I didn't do implement multi-select, because I kind of knew deep down I'd run into these issues. So when you select a wall piece, it selects all of these little handles all along the vertices. Selecting them works really fast. Deselecting them is slow. Deselecting them is where the lag comes in. Yeah, okay, let's try. Well, I mean, wouldn't Q freeze still do it in the same frame? It just would do it at the end of the frame. Yeah, it's not any better. I think it's these poly handles, because I'm calling this yeah. Where is this being called? Unhandled input. Yeah. Clear selected. Clean up free objects. Clear. Reset, hide, queue free. Box select, Gizmo's not clear. Yeah, it's fine. What is this? Print box. Maybe I'm creating too many gizmos. Whoa. That was a massive spike. It's something to do with clicking and selecting these walls. Yeah. So when you select something, let's just walk through this. I clear the selected objects. There aren't too many. For each object that I select, adds a gizmo. If it is a gizmo, Maybe it's this code. Maybe this code needs to be in here somehow. Let's do this. If is Gizmo O. Break. If polyhandle O. I don't think that's right. That's not right either. Right, I want to do this. Selected objects.append, like that. Append, like that. Although, if I'm... I do need some special cases here. Oh man, this is getting hairy. This is getting hairy. I'm so close. I feel like I'm so close to getting this to work. This is a special case. If object.size equals 1. If it's a polyhandle, if object.size equals 1. If not a valid instance, continue. So if I'm selecting one object and it's a gizmo, then the selected object is the gizmo's target. If I'm selecting just one object and it's a polyhandle, then the selected object is the parent of the polyhandle. If the object in this list is not valid, then just go to the next one. And otherwise, it'll add a gizmo and append the object to the list of selected objects. Let's see if that's saner. I mean, it still works, but it's still slow. It's not as bad as it was. What the heck just happened there? I think I'm going to throw this away. This is... Anyway, I need to sleep on it. It is 11 a.m. I have to be someplace at 12, so I gotta go. Thank you all for joining, for watching, for following. I appreciate everybody. And yeah, we'll be back at some point in the future. Maybe soon. These early morning, well, it was early morning, streams have been working out for me. And, you know, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. I appreciate everybody's, you know, spending time with me today. And if you don't know about the game, please go check it out. It is in early access now on Steam. You can go to gravityace.com, find out everything you know about it. And I will see you guys when I see you. Thanks for dropping in, everybody.